Money family. It is your boy K-Dub. This is K-Dub's High Five, 5 rapid fire questions with your favorite hobby faces. And today we bring in sort of a new hobby favorite face for me, but quickly growing as one of my favorites. She's an on-air personality for DA Card World. She is Elena Jonathan at Elena Jonathan 3 on Twitter and other social medias, I believe. Other social medias as well?
Oh, yes, just Elena Jonathan on everything else.
Okay, Elena
Without the
Jonathan.
baby.
Hey, I appreciate you joining me. It's so great to get you on here. How you doing? How you doing right now?
Oh, doing so great. We're coming back from a little bit of work trip, a couple hours away in Cooperstown, New York, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. So we're doing some fun content out there with some baseball kids. So that was going to go up on our Instagram and stuff like that in a couple days.
Right on. DA Card World is the hub there for her personality work. So
Yeah,
and we are live from a Starbucks in Cooperstown as well. So there we go. Let's go.
we love it with the pink drink and all.
Only fitting for the high five. Anyways, how this works, I got 5 questions, all hobby related. I'm gonna throw them one right after another. Ready to take on the high five?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. First question, can you kind of, for people who don't really know you or maybe haven't seen your face in social media atmosphere, kind of give me what you feel like your role or your kind of personality is within social media, but really within the hobby.
So within the hobby specifically, I'm considered an on-air personality, but for those in the hobby, know it better as a breaker. That's the hobby term. And I also work on some side pieces for DA Card World and Dave and Adams Sports Cards. I do top 5 pieces on top 5 cards ever sold in the hobby and that sort of thing. But really, you can find me in the main lounge on our Twitch channel, just breaking cards open, personals, group breaks, all sorts of things.
Okay. And how would you describe kind of your style as a breaker? Like what's your kind of mindset as you break, you know?
My mindset as I break is just don't mess up the names, but even though I always mess up the names and
Gotcha.
I always roast the players, like that's just my bit, I guess. I
Okay.
just like to kind of go in on their autos. Like I hate when a player has a bad auto because I'm just like, what is this? Like this is the worst auto I've ever seen.
Fair
So
enough.
I'm kind of more of a comedic breaker in a sense that people don't really come they come for more of the entertainment and the chaos rather than like the strict card knowledge. I've learned a lot since I've started at Dave and Adams, and I'm constantly learning. But I'm more of just an entertainer
Got it.
in the hobby.
Which is part of the breaking experience. I feel like, you really got to find a person that you kind of gravitate towards their style, their personality. But the beauty of the hobby and breaking right now is there's so many avenues and so many different breakers. It's hard not to find someone you won't like. So cool.
Right? Yeah. There's so many different personalities at Dave and Adams too that it's like you have these 2 guys that it's called the channel's called 2 Bros 1 Break, and they're very knowledgeable on the breaking side of things. And then I'm just by myself in the main lounge, kind of screaming at a wall all day. But it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it. I love it. First, well, let's just jump right into the second question then. Kind of walk me through a little bit about your hobby story. Like, how did you get into sports cards? How did you get into, maybe breaking? And then bigger than that, like, who do you feel or who do you credit to, like, some of your influences in your card collecting? Let's start with how'd you get into sports cards?
So funny enough, when I was growing up, I have a younger cousin who's 2 years younger than me. And since I could remember, every holiday, birthday, he would get a box of Series 1 Upper Deck hockey every time. And at this point now, he's 21, 22 years old. He has binders on binders on binders in his room filled. So I always, when I thought of sports cards and collecting, I thought of my cousin Danny immediately. And I would think of his hockey card collection because he has an amazing collection that he's just accumulated over the years. But I was never really a collector myself until I got this job at Dave and Adams.
Okay. And then how did you find yourself applying for a sports card position? Not really into cards.
So funny enough, I used to work in news. I was a news reporter for 2 years in Erie, PA. So I had on-air personality, and they listed the job as an on-air personality, and I was like, why not? I'm really into football. I love Bills football. I love all football in general. So I was like, oh, let's see if this is something I'd want to do in terms of sports. And I made it very clear when I started that cards were not my thing. I know what cards are. I've seen them my whole life. And they kind of just took a chance on me and have been supporting me ever since, which I can't be more grateful for. It's all learning, right? There's so many different inserts, variations of everything, every type of card, short prints, super short prints, like we could go on and on. So just learning all of this. And thankfully, our community of chatters on Twitch have been amazing with helping me learn too. So it's been a long 8 months in the sense of I've learned a lot.
For sure, for sure. Well, I think if you really want to butcher names, you should get into hockey breaking because I've heard
Oh,
those names are like impossible to say. So
it's funny, right? Because some of the chat, they come in every day, and if they're like, oh, I want a good laugh, I'm gonna have Elena open hockey or baseball because I just butcher those names like so bad. And then the chat's like, ha, 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 she can't say Yamir Yager. That was like I don't even think I said that one right. But
that's
yeah,
too funny.
football is my specialty. But
Gotcha.
any other sport is I'm not. I'm trying. NBA is my next feat. I'm trying to understand and learn the sport so I can know how to break those cards. But baseball's tough for me. I can't.
Oh, I don't even try. I don't. I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even try right now. So maybe some '90s names I might be able to knock out, but that's about it. So. Uh,
Right.
well, let's talk. I mean, you kind of said you were newer to cards, so I'm interested on this third question. Like, when we say the Grail card or the Grail item, like it's a card that you've always wanted in your collection. But being a newer collector, I'm interested to hear kind of if you had a Grail card or a Grail chase, what would that card be and why?
So honestly, you might laugh at me, but I'm all about like economical collects because I can't afford to be pouring hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars into the hobby. That's just not me. So I recently discovered Joe Flacco was a very economical collect, and
Absolutely.
all of his cards are very cheap. So I just got an out of 10, or 10 out of 10. I don't know what year it was, and I don't think it was out of a Topps product of football because it was early Joe Flacco, and I got it at the Toronto Sport Card Expo for $80 American, and it's his auto and patch card on it. And I say that's my holy grail. That's my favorite card. I'm like, I love a good economical collect, and I collect backup quarterbacks mostly because I just want to give
Good.
them the same love as the starters. And Joe Flacco is my favorite quarterback, so that's anything I would want to get a higher end Joe Flacco, like a National Treasures or something like that. And I just was on my phone because I was looking at it on eBay. I'm like, I wonder how much it goes for. And one was listed for 175. So I guess that's my holy grail is that one.
This may be the start of like a beautiful friendship because a person who has an $80 Grail card is like that's my lane in the hobby right there. That is it right there. So under $100 Grail card, you are living the collecting dream right now.
The stick patch, like it has all the Ravens colors on it and everything. And I'm like, I just maybe one day if I'm rich and famous off this breaking thing, I'll be able to, invest in a Josh Allen 1 of 1 because that would be really sick. But right now it's not the time. I want to build the world's largest Joe Flacco collection, so that's what we're doing.
Let's go. A great product is Upper Deck SP Threads. They make just really nice looking cards and clean spots for autos. So I think I've seen Flacco's for like 20 or $30, which is crazy because
Perfect.
he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but I think
I could go on and on about the Joe Flacco thing. Don't even
well,
give.
his rookie year is 2007. Is that right? 2008.
2008.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So look up that Upper Deck SP Joe Flacco rookie autos. I'm sure you'll find some nice autos there for dirt cheap, which is the way to collect. So I love it.
I love Taylor Heineke. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks as well. So I was collecting just Taylor Heineke cards for a second. He's hard to find because he's got a lot of products. So.
Oh yeah. Taylor Heineke was a Vikings draft pick, so I had a ton of Taylor Heineke stuff that I was just giving away because who knew? And then I looked at like when he blew up, and I thought, oh man, I gave away quite a bit of change from my pocket there, but it's all good, man.
I know. It's all good. It's all going back into the hobby.
Exactly. So. They went to the right people. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the product real quick. You say you're breaking, but is there all the money in the world? You can break any box for you, not for somebody else, but for you. What box are you gonna rip and why?
I mean, obviously, I would love to rip like National Treasures or something like that, or like the gold Panini Gold one, where it comes like the gold bar and you can pull it out of the gold bar. Yes, I like that one, but personally, like if I could just drop all of the money on the world, it'd be on Donruss Optic with the rated rookies.
Yeah,
I just love the look of those cards. I love the Rated Rookie emblem on it. And I got lucky enough to pull a downtown out of one of their DK Metcalf downtown, literally
Nice.
the second box I ever bought. And I couldn't believe it. So now I have this like special place in my heart because I think every box I get, I'm going to pull a downtown. It's just not the case. But I love that product. I think it's so clean and I just could rip it every day. That's like one of the things in my live lounge that if I could, I want people to rip that all day.
No, I mean, Optic is one of those, kind of takes me back to my 90s collecting, honestly, because it's got that shine to it, that chrome finish. It just kind of has that shimmer and shine to it. That's why I love quality cards. And downtown cards are like, to me, the closest you're going to get to a good 90s insert of a card. So congrats on the DK. That's pretty sweet.
Thank you. I sent it into PSA to get graded. So we're waiting. We sent it in like a month or two ago. So I'm hoping it comes back like a 9. But I know it's really hard. I just think the way they do downtowns look so cool, right? Like you think of the Buffalo one with Josh Allen, and it has Niagara Falls on it, it has Buffalo, like it just really encapsulates Western New York. And I feel like each downtown encapsulates that city, which it's just a piece of artwork at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it's really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think downtown, what about, let me get the comments below, like favorite insert in products right now. Is downtown up there? Or do you have another insert in mind? So awesome. Well, make sure to tag me when you get that back from PSA. I look forward to seeing what happens.
Oh, I will be blasting it everywhere. It's going to be my first slab. And then I sent in other slabs as well, like Joe Flacco, Taylor Heineke. I bought like Sage Autos off eBay for like 99 cents and send those in to get graded just for my personal collection because I just think that'll look cool.
You are the best right now. I love this. I love this about you. It's so great. Slabbing up cards for your PC is the best. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, last question here for you. Obviously, you bring a different perspective. Being a female in the hobby is a different perspective on things. So as you kind of look towards the end of 2023, going into 2024, like the things that are happening in the hobby, what goes through your mind as far as being a female collector, and like what things would you advise maybe newer female collectors to maybe look out for, or as a whole, kind of like what's it like being a female collecting in 2023?
You know, it's funny. I did a whole piece with some notable women in the hobby, Sharon Chung, Sarah Layton being one of them, and Mama Breaks, if you're familiar with her, and a few other women, just talking about this shift that's kind of happening with more women entering the hobby. And they've said a lot of them are older, so they've seen women enter the hobby and actually grow it. So I'm very excited for the direction that the hobby is going with women. I'm hoping at the national, I connect with a lot of these women that follow us on Twitch and that kind of thing. If I was going to advise anything for women in this hobby to do, I would just be prepared to do your research and kind of know your stuff a little bit more, because it always seems to happen where it's like, so I would just advise doing your research, especially if you want to kind of go with the best of them with these conversations. Am I guilty of not doing my research sometimes? Yes, but definitely doing your research, knowing the product will be the biggest help there is in this hobby.
Absolutely, absolutely. And where do you kind of look for that kind of advice as far as like research and stuff go? Like, what direction would you point people to go to kind of learn more about the product or learn more about collecting?
Start cards obviously on dacardworld.com, and it gives you a product rundown with pictures of each of the notable inserts, case hits, and that sort of thing. And even just clicking through the picture so you understand, like, okay, this is out of 100, this is out of 79. Photo, first off the line exclusives have different numberings for stuff like that, and it's all explained in the product breakdown. So just even glancing over at that to see what the key facts are is so helpful. Even if you just look at it 30 seconds, take some stuff in, then when you open the product, you're like, oh, the pink is out of 50. And then you already know right then and there. So that's very, very helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, all that stuff, I mean, know before you go, right? I mean, if, before you jump in the water, know how deep the water is. And so,
right.
I think, a key piece is kind of getting as much information as you can before you jump into collecting. I got a question. I want to piggyback off that. Like you mentioned some ladies there, as we have, listeners who are male and female, like who would you kind of advise female collectors to kind of look to in the social media of the world, the hobby. Also, obviously yourself, Elena Jonathan 3. Follow her on all socials. But like, are there any other female collectors where you say this is a good person to look to as far as advice and thinking goes when it comes to collecting?
Absolutely. I mean, off the top of my head, it would have to be Jess Minio from Bleaker Trading or Mama Breaks, and she's Mama Breaks on social.
Okay.
Those two are, younger women that have gotten in and out of the hobby their whole lives, and they know how to kind of curate content in a way that people that are watching can understand and relate to, which I think was missing in the hobby for a really long time, where it's like, oh, Mama Breaks' specialty, her name's Stephanie, but her specialty is more Star Wars in baseball, but she shows you opening it and kind of explains, here's the superfractor of somebody, or here's a numbered Darth Vader card that goes for a lot, and is just more relatable in a sense. Sharon Chong has been in this hobby forever. She's Black Jaded Wolf on the socials.
Okay.
She's kind of like the wise person in terms of the hobby, because she's literally been going to shows since she was like 18 years old. So she says she remembers a time where there were no women, just her kind of fighting for the floor space at these big shows and stuff like that. So if you're looking for younger people, it would be Stephanie or Mama Breaks and Jeff Minio. And then the older side would be Sarah Layton, who's the co-owner of Layton Sports Cards, and Black Jade Wolf or Sharon Chong as well.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah,
man, shout out to those ladies for doing their thing.
they're
And
awesome.
some of them I haven't heard some names before, so I need to get on my socials and try to follow up some new friends for sure. So
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. Well, shoot, we cleared the list, so we got a high five. Throw it up right here. Boom, we got a high five. Shout out
There we go.
for letting us host this right here.
Yes, thank you, Starbucks.
My guest here, Elena Jonathan at Elena Jonathan 3 on social networks, as well as DA Card World. You can check those guys out, and she breaks on Twitch, so get on that Twitch stream and check them out as well. Also, please make sure subscribe to the channel, DizzyDub1, as well as you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. KDub. Shout out to our high five endorsers this season, Rack of the Day, Eric Hecker, as well as Buck City Breaks on all social medias. Hey, I appreciate you joining me. This was great. Super fun to talk with you. It's always nice to talk to another economic collector, as you titled yourself. It's perfect. So.
Anytime you want to talk economical collects, we can go into it and see what's the cheapest card we can get off of eBay.
Well, now I got to go find you some good Joe Flaccos. I'll be sending you some. All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you guys next time on the next High Five.